Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and I'm here with Mark DeSantis with Bolivar Peninsula Special Utilities District, and we're going to be doing some shows over the next 5 weeks. There's been a lot going on with our water department here on Bolivar as far as some changes that have had to be done, some expansion that they're going to be doing, and I thought it'd be good to break it down. Mark's broke it down into 5 shows now. And we're going to, each week, Monday at 7 a.m., we're going to do a show for you. And we're going to talk. This first show is about the history of Bolivar Peninsula Special Utilities District. And then each week will be a different show until we get up. As many of you know, some price increases have happened and some expansions are going to have to take place because of the size of the water pipes. And by the time we get to the last show, we'll break it down as to what's getting done and when it's going to happen, so that these rumors going around everywhere can stop, because that's the biggest problem with some of the social media posts that are going out that they're going to double and triple and quadruple water bills. That's not happening right now, but I can tell you the tap fees are going to go up, and that's actually common in a lot of municipal areas where new subdivisions come in and they have to pay for the service somehow, and they do that from the tap fees going up. So anyway, Mark, this first week we're talking about the history. Let's let everyone know about how it started, when it started, and they've come a long ways, because I can remember when I first started coming down here, you really didn't. You used the water to wash with, but you really didn't drink it. And it's changed a lot. You know, they've worked on water lines, fixed water lines, went through Ike, repairing everything. We've been through 2 freezes now. And they've come out on top. We've got a new water tower that didn't cost the end user a penny. It was done on a grant, something Joe started when he was here, and so that was a great addition to it. But let's talk about the history. Go through your slideshow and give us some history on the Bolivar Peninsula Special Utilities District.
Sure. So, David, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and represent Bolivar Peninsula Special Utility District, as they're one of the newer board members.
You've been on the board about a year, haven't you?
I've been on the board about a year, and you know, it's important that people know that those of us on the board, and we'll go through this later on, but you have to be a property owner. You have to be a participant down here. I mean, that's one of the misnomers, is people like, we're not paid, we volunteer, and those of us that are on the board, we really are committed to the community. We're trying to make sure that we're taking care of the existing customers that we have today, and that we're prepared for the future.
And that's the biggest thing, is the future, because Bolivar's growing so much.
Yes, and that's what's creating a lot of this demand. So.
Right. Well, let's get some history on the Special Utilities District, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So this was interesting as I worked with the staff to put this together. But first of all, prior to 1967, which is not all that long ago, you know, Highway 87 was called Route 87, and the majority of the land was used either for cattle ranching, truck farming. Residents used cisterns, shallow waters, or brought their water with them for their basic needs.
Right.
And there was well water available at depths between 8 and 15 feet, but from what, talking to the people that have been here before then, it wasn't very palatable after a while. So. Somewhere about 57 years ago, the actual Bolivar Peninsula Water Supply Corporation was established in November 1967. And it started with 1 employee, 5 members of the board of directors, and 973 customers. As a result of that Water Supply Corporation being set up, we actually saw an increase in 25% in land values, because now water was available to the peninsula. So it shows you how important it is to have good, reliable water supply. So the Bolivar Peninsula Water Supply Corporation source of water was basically 2 wells in Winnie. So this is a quote from one of those people from the area, was, the only good thing about the water was it was wet. The water wasn't very appealing to the eye or agreeable to the taste, but it was good for flushing toilets, watering plants, and some people even took a bath in it. And 7 years after the Bolivar Peninsula Water Supply Corporation started, there were about 2,000 connections, and it was growing at a rate of 40 connections per month.
We're growing, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was about 30 connections a month.
Yes, currently we're averaging about 32 connections a month.
32 connections a month.
So in 2000, the Bolivar Peninsula Water Supply Corporation became the special utility district. And basically the change in the organizational structure was chosen because compared to water supply corporations, the SUD is able to be tax exempt.
Okay.
And this allowed us to receive better loan rates from the Texas Water Department Board. And while the creation of a municipal utility district was considered, so you hear a lot of people are MUDs. Back in Austin, my house, I'm in a MUD. The board here did not want to create a taxing authority. And so what that really means is the MUDs really get from both ends. They are part of your property tax that you have no say in every year that's passed on to you, and then you receive your water bill. Here, everything is up front. It's not included in your property taxes. It's all part of your water bill. And the board at that time then boasted of 14 employees, 11 members of the board of directors, and 4,500 customers. So about the time the board and the manager set out to secure a better source of water. So surface water treatment plant was constructed in Winnie by the Lower Neches Valley Authority with a Texas Water Development Board loan. The original plan was for the plant to serve the entire region. After our prospective partners changed their plans, so it was not going to just be our water department, but 3 or 4 others that were going to join us in that plant. Everyone else went to another source, and that left us as being the sole customer with a challenge of covering the entire debt for that plant, which also means all of the ongoing maintenance and everything else for that plant has to be covered just by the Bolivar Peninsula Special Utility District. So that does increase our cost for the water itself. Through some wise management and fiscal prudence, the district was able to retire a 2004 bond and a 2009 bond early, so we saved the company over $600,000. More progress on reducing debt would have been made, likely, if not for Hurricane Ike, because overnight the district was reduced from 6,000 connections to 600.
Yeah. And no one knew where they were. In fact, I can remember a buddy of mine, we had an aerial view and there was one palm tree left on his property because he had second row. And the water department said, we've got to find your water meter, because he was ready to rebuild. And you know, there was sand on it. And so we measured on the picture, looked at the picture and then measured. And we were within about 1.5 feet of his water meter and found it within a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
Down about yay deep, you know, digging around. But that's how we found his water meter, was from a Google Earth image from before the storm. And one palm tree that was left, because the house was gone.
Yes. So the loans, thank God, through the Texas Water Department Bureau, our loans were restructured, which made it possible for the district to stay above water while residents recovered, for instance, your friend, and decide whether or not to return to the beach. Today, the Bolivar Peninsula Utility District has 16 employees, 9 board members, and over 6,150 connections. So it was just within the past year that we actually surpassed the number of connections we had prior to Ike.
And we started out, when this started, it was 970 some connections. Yeah. So yes.
So yes, we've grown, and you'll see our projected growth here when we get into the next parts. But you know, annual debt payments are over $1,312,000 today. So I want to thank, I think a lot of you know George Strong, who was a former vice president. He was a contributor in getting this information together, as well as from the Rockwell Manufacturing publication.
Okay.
So I appreciate the opportunity to really kind of talk about the history, but I thought it was important that everyone knows where we came from,
where it came from,
the impact that it had, and the changes and the growth, and the also the rate, or rather the residential values had gone up.
And you know, Ike was a big burden. You know,
Yes.
A lot of work went into rebuilding after Ike. And you know, if we would have gone more without that, you know, I know it would have been a lighter burden financially on the water department. But you know, like everything but down here, it came back stronger. We've got, I think now we've got generators on all the pump, the storage tanks and stuff, and so we're really stepping up. But you know, from my standpoint too, we have to expand, and that's, you know, what's going to happen over the next year, 2 years. And I think the plan that y'all are using goes out 5 or 10 years.
Goes out 10 years.
10 years. And so there's going to be some changes down here, but it's for the better, and it's so that you can drink clean tap water. So,
well, the thing that people have to realize, and again, and we'll cover this in the future series, but we're in great shape as far as the main water side. We have a 20-inch line down. We have no problems with supply of water coming from our plant. The issues that we'll talk about that are immediate,
the distribution,
is developments that were done prior to the Peninsula Special Utility District being in place, and controlling how those distribution water lines were put in.
Great.
So we'll touch that in the next series.
Okay.
So thank you.
You know, this is going to be a 5-week series. This is the first. We've got 4 more to do, and we're going to play these every week on Mondays at 7 a.m. You can see it on our social media channels. You can find us on YouTube. Just type in @Bolivar Live, and you can also see it on our Bolivar Live TV. And we're actually going to put up a subcategory for this series so that they stay up there, and you can go back and watch them on Bolivar Live TV at a later date. Once we get through a couple of the shows, we'll have that up there. But we're going to be back, and I want to thank Mark for coming down and putting these presentations together. A lot of work went in. I know you sent me an updated version at 9 o'clock this morning, an hour before we were going to start recording. And so, you know, that's part of the board, and part of what he does is they put a lot of time, and they don't get paid for it, into making sure we have what we need down here in a feasible manner. So we're going to head on out. We'll be back next Monday with another show at 7 a.m. on another topic and another part of the Bolivar Peninsula Special Utilities District. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.